like one bad apple, this video spoils the rest of the batch. Stray is a game where you play as Garf of the Field in search of lasagna inside the Kowloon walled city. As the latter half of Simon and Garfunkel, you have the ability to do many things that humans cannot do, like squeeze through ledges, jump on signs, and scratch the carpet. You also can't do things many humans can do, like wield weapons, open doors, or speak. You do get an on-demand meow button, though. I abuse that a lot. Walled City 99, location unknown, is one walled city in the world, or on the other planet where we are, one of an unknown number. Maybe 99 was a lucky number. Maybe the city was founded in 1999, 2099, etc. Maybe there are at least 98 other cities like Fallout Vaults. Maybe the developers just thought 99 was a suitably big but still comprehensible number. Anyway, the world outside of City 99 is allegedly unlivable, despite the fact that it's overgrown with flora and there's some fauna. Maybe humans just did that one day. But humans end up needing to live in this walled city. A walled city has to be self-sustaining, and while I'm sure there were farms and such that provided food and existing infrastructure for water and power, the biggest factor that the game tells us about is garbage. Garbage, like myself, is bad actually, and waste management had to deal with it. However, waste management cared about their advertising more than their job, so they just threw it on to the poor. Wow, I sure am glad our world is not like that. Right, guys? As it turns out though, the poor don't like garbage, just like I don't like the poor, and they also outnumber the operators, so they need to get rid of the trash somehow. Necocorp, necrophilia, infects a bacteria that can eat garbage, but this bacteria eventually evolves to form what the robot NPCs call Zerks. Zerks still eat garbage. They also look really similar to head crabs. No head. The crowded conditions and mountains of actual literal trash lead to a viral outbreak, forcing a quarantine, and eventually all the humans die. We don't know why. The game tells us, but I wasn't paying attention. I think the virus kills them, or they just leave. Enter a very small mammal, which makes very small noises. This is basically Stray. We begin the game as a cat with our cat friends and cat family. It is very nice. We like it here. It's pouring rain and I make the most of it by spamming the meow button. It's very aesthetic and the rain makes it really relaxing, so we feel ourselves being lulled to sleep, and then I fell asleep on my keyboard. Maybe that's the game's biggest strength. Map design and atmosphere. I adore the way the map is laid out. It all just makes sense while still lending itself to the gameplay. Nothing really looks out of place, and the game makes brilliant use of color and light to show you where to go, not using UI elements, kind of like how Valve does it. I'm looking at you, Bethesda, Ubisoft, other companies I can't think of. We wake up the next morning to the sun shining down on our fuzzy little adorable face, and we know it's time to go exploring, so we get into our armored convoy and head outside the wire. The convoy bridges a gap across an unsafe OSHA unapproved pipe, but the final vehicle, ours, falls down the wall and into the sewers. Limping our way out, we discover a thin road in a dead city where the security cameras nod at us. There's not a single living thing in sight except for mosses and small plant life. Passing a dead companion, we follow the signs to find a puzzle involving this broken fan. The fan takes us to a roof, the roof takes us to an apartment, and the apartment takes us back out to the street where we meet the timid and cowardly Zerks for the first time, as well as seeing our first living companion, who's currently serving as lunch for 2 Zerks. Scaling a wall, we find an army of Zerks on the other end. Turns out, they're not the friendliest creatures, taking us into our first Zerk chase. After some creative interactions with the environment, checking our calendar to make sure it's not Monday, and typing something, we're ready to download sentience.exe on this remote control helicopter I found in the gutter a few years ago. He says his name is B12. I will call him Dave. The helicopter talks to us, gives us a snappy vest, and I forgot the password to get into my phone, so I just tried the register passwords at work. None of them go through, so I had to ask my mom. The code opens a door that lets us ride in the bucket.
Dear God.
There's more.
No.
The bucket ride shows us some of Stray's body horror as we see webs of flesh extend betwixt buildings, small cysts growing up on the walls, developing new Zerks, eating away at my fucking bit rate. We're making good progress on our way through Tiny Town until Dave stops us. He forgore, but now he remember. The dialogue in this game is hard to parody because there really isn't any, it's all text-based. He steals a postcard though, and we ride another bucket across a canyon of Zerks. There's a very, very short escape section, and we discover the slums. In the slums, everyone's afraid of us, so we casually walk into the center and talk to the village elder. The elder gives us a look, says something, and decides we're not a threat unless we start eating people's faces. Shame. At least Dave can translate for us because he speaks both companion and cat. Maybe he's secretly an interpreter left behind by the United States Army following yet another botched withdrawal. This segues us into the first open world section of the game, kind of. Exploring is my favorite part, and the slums keep it interesting. Every one of these robot NPCs have more humanity than most Ubisoft NPCs. The robot tells us to go to the top of that tower for gits and shiggles. We go there, but first, something much more important. Side quests. Everyone loves a good side quest, and this game has a few of them. In fact, most of my recordings came from this slum section right here. After a couple of unrelated side quests, we follow Sensei's advice and find Momo up at the top, who tells us to go across the rooftop to relay tower 0DB-521 and extend the satellites to amplify signals in the surrounding area. The rooftops are littered with Zerks who want to peel the flesh from our bodies and cast our souls into the abyss, which is suboptimal, so we just don't do that. We weave our way through the construction site, pop on the transmitter, and zipline back down to the slums below. Back in safe territory, we have to save Seamus' father, Doc. Seamus being the town alcoholic with a Marty McFly aesthetic, and Doc being Doc Dastardly, the World War I flying ace trying to catch a pigeon and also win races, I guess. I've just been informed it's actually Doc Brown. I like my idea better. We run through these sewers until we find him in a small shack. He made a gun to kill the Zerks, but the gun don't work too good because the generator we used to charge it blew a fuse, so as the small little mischief maker we are, we go to replace it. He adapts the gun to fit on Dave, and we go on our armed way. After some running in circles, we make it back to the slums armed and unharmed, as Gorge Washing Machine intended. Actually though, we went down the wrong sewers. Those were the dead-end sewers. This is the sewers. This is your typical Call of Duty on-rails vehicle turret section, just like in Modern Warfare. After a while, we come across a door that our good friend Momo can't open, so we leave him to his death with no way back, and we never see him again. From here, we have to venture on our own, just us, Dave, and the M249 light machine gun strapped to Dave's third leg. The sewers are infested with Zerks, but they're less of a problem now that we're strapped. We make our way through to the Seeing Eyes dog. I spy with my fucking massive eye. You. Zerk, 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 Zerk. Dave runs out of ammo and passes out from shock, so we pick him up and run out of the sewers, bringing us to the Ant Village, which isn't that interesting because, whoa boy, it's vertical. At least we'll never see those Zerks again. We don't make it 3 feet past the bridge before Dave has an existential crisis because he realizes he is indeed a human. Was a human. In the interest of being a human, I connected my controller and just finished the game with that. The Ant Village, despite being a straight line reaching for the sky, has more charm and personality than some Ubisoft protagonists. We decide, for legal reasons, to leave the Ant Village, taking us to a subway station. I love subway stations, and this is the best part of the game. Subway station takes us to Midtown, a wealthier part of the city ruled by an oppressive force of sentinels left upholding the laws of the old world. Down with Big Brother, we say, destroying security cameras for some hooligans. The hooligans are positively chuffed and give us a mixtape to say thank you. We use the mixtape to commit a stealing and get our hands on a reflective vest and a hard hat. By the way, we can freak out this cop by rubbing against his legs. We sneak through the Necocorp factory to prank everyone by stealing their atomic battery that powers what we can only assume is everything relating to the Neco Corporation and a few other things throughout the city. Being an atomic battery, we can also assume that it's powered by nuclear fusion, so we basically stole a small thermonuclear device. Obviously, this puts the police on edge and they start scouring the apartment complex. We very, very sneakily get past the guards, into the apartment, and decrypt a message telling us to meet at the nightclub. This is the first and probably the last date I've ever been on. We monkey around on some levers and go to the VIP suite where we meet with Blazer, the guy who helped us steal the battery, to discuss our next steps. He called the cops though, so we end up in a dingy Asian prison suspended over toxic waste or sewer water or something. I think we can consider this date as an overwhelming success. I don't vibe with the prison food though, so I find it pertinent. Who says pertinent? Did I write that? To break out, but in order for our daring breakout plan to work, we need to find Dave, and to find Dave we need opposable thumbs, so we also need to break out the woman. Trust me, boys, if I had any other choice, I would have taken that. Clementine helps us break Dave out, and we bamboozle some police minicopters, eventually finding the exit and stealing a delivery truck so we can make it back to Midtown. Clementine sacrifices herself to the cops so that I can ride the subway one last time. It's at this part that the game dies. The guy who was reading and listening to music in this alcove is gone. It's just me and Dave. We wake up at the subway station and depart on our adventure, reaching the control room. We arrive in the control room and hear the sounds of a broom. The companions are here too! They never develop sentience. It's just me and Dave. This room has views over the whole city, and we can see Midtown and Momo's apartment, we can see the Zerk construction site, we can see the prison we just broke out of. This is the cleanest area of the game. Together, Dave and I break through a security protocol, I wake up some computers, and we break through the security system to open up the city and release the outside world. Dave gives me a snappy vest, hacks the first 2 terminal, the 3rd terminal fries him. Dave gives me a shaky goodbye and thanks me for helping him remember. He takes off my snappy vest and dies. It's just me. The city is open. I wait for the entire roof to open, staring over the city I just finished exploring, thinking about the companions I talked to, the ones I'd help. With a final meow, I leave the control room, head out to the outside world once more, the sun kissing my pink nose. Stray is more than a game. Stray is a story about following old values. It's about failing to keep up, but more importantly, it's about the scales of power and how even a simple cat can tip them. It's a story of perseverance, and how the indomitable human spirit can exist far longer than the final human. I like Stray. Buy the game. Support the developers, even though they're French. You know, I actually have a Twitter, @RogueAndFluffy. That's my Instagram too. I don't use either anymore, but go hit the follow button or whatever they call it. I have a Trello too. That's in the description. You can see what I'm working on, what's coming next, and what stages they're all on. That's all I got. Deuces.